we have this routine. We go out, wait for the guitar solo, and then we jump and do the splits in the air. I'm like, fuck you, man, you're setting me up for failure. I'm here for 2 hip replacements. And the first thing you want me to do on stage is something that I physically can't do.
It's like bring your grandpa to work day.
No, I knew we were in trouble when I had to help him up the stairs.
Well, let's make this official, DC! It's your
Guys, thanks. Is this something we said? Yeah, mass exodus. Way to go, Misha. They usually stay on the stage when it's stair time.
They're afraid of me.
Rightfully so. How's everybody doing?
How was Alex Calvert? He's such a sweet guy. It's hard to believe that he kills puppies for sport. Such a sweet guy.
Not that sweet.
No.
No, not really. Well, it's good to be here. We thought we'd switch things up on you and bring somebody who doesn't work on the show anymore.
Spoiler alert!
No. You just walked away in the last episode, right? Yeah. Does he come back? I don't know.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
What?
You're talking about me?
Yeah, talking about you.
I don't like when you're talking about me.
Well, it's gonna be a long hour.
Can we just agree not to make eye contact at all for this entire panel?
That would be so lovely if that
And
were true all
ignore
the
each
time.
other? I am so mad at you. I can't quite remember why.
It doesn't matter. Kiss and make up.
Somebody came into our photo ops earlier and said, hey, would you guys do me a favor and for this photo op, I'd like you to kiss and make up. And then if you want, like, the thing that's been holding us back is just somebody giving us permission. Anyway, we did.
You know, there was a time when we would say no to requests in the photo line. And I remember it was maybe a few years ago when we gave up. And it was a sad day. When he and I just looked at each other and we were like,
I'm going to say something, it's a little, if you're a child, cover your ears right now, and I apologize. But also in today's photo online, somebody came through and they had something, and the creation staff said, no, we can't do that. And I turned to Jensen and I said, what? What do you think it was? Like, how bad does it have to be for us? Like, was the request like, this time I'd like to do the photo with no condoms? Too far?
Jared and I usually have a PG handle. You don't necessarily have to sign waivers for it.
Boy, the crowd started to sound like the UFC crowd last night. All right, we should take questions before
I don't know, this is pretty fun. This is a nice therapy session for us. I think it's been overdue for a long time. What side do you want to start with? That side.
Hi guys.
Hi.
My question's for Jensen. So Dean in the pilot was 26. I'm 26. I'll be 27 in a couple of days. So thankfully I can still ask this question. What advice would you give to both 26-year-old me and anybody else who's 26 and Dean?
What advice would I give to you?
I'm actually glad I didn't get that question. 26-year-old giving the advice, or now to the 26-year-old?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Well, there's plenty of time left. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. This is my advice to you. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You got plenty of time. Enjoy the 20s, because when you turn 30, you don't get the excuse of being in your 20s. You don't get to use that excuse anymore. And it's a glorious excuse. Because, I mean, come on, I'm 33 doesn't really work. And trust me, come on, man, I didn't mean that. I'm 41. Certainly doesn't work. It's not okay, so enjoy these years. What I would give advice to Dean would...
How old is Dean?
Dean's 40.
He's much younger.
Than you?
I'm still mad at
you. My advice to Dean would be to, at 26, would be to go find them in a bunkers, or the middle layers bunkers. Go find them. Not the bunker of men. That's the past. I don't have any good advice. I'll just go with that. Thank you.
Well said. Well said. Your turn.
All right, being a Star Trek fan, when the series ended, there was movies. Do we get movies with Supernatural?
There will be probably a movie from Supernatural. It may well be a documentary about struggling former actors trying to find their footing in the world. If you think about it, we have been playing make-believe for, me a dozen years, you 15 years, you almost all of your adult life, me 1/3 of my adult life. And we get thrown out into the cold, cruel, real world where we have no life skills. Well, I'm going to be walking around to solve problems doing things like this. And nothing's going to happen. And it's going to be incredibly frustrating, and it's probably going to wind us in a lot of trouble and with very low pay. So I think it could be a story of, coming up against the adversity of being completely useless and then watching that person just decline.
Yeah, that could even be more of a series. I think that's got this, because there's plenty of stories to tell.
Yeah.
And just how awful do they get? How depressing is life?
It's like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but it would be the real unemployed actors of Austin.
Of Supernatural.
I'm coming to Austin too, by the way, so I'll be there.
This sounds exciting. I'm excited. I was wondering what we could do when the show was over. And I'm glad we've figured that out here today. That's good. Good.
Thank you.
Hi.
My question is for Misha. I read about your tea party on the highway thing, and I was wondering what prank, whether on the Supernatural set or not, actually that either of you have pulled on each other, because I know you guys like to mess around, that you feel like, thank God I didn't get in trouble. You can mess with it, I'm over here, it's fine.
Can you rephrase the question?
was worse.
You put me on the spot.
This was a terrible idea.
Is it okay if we just sit in silence for the rain? Alright, so what terrible things have... What,
I'm having a hard time finding the link to the Tea Party. Was there a link to the Tea Party?
Well, yeah, because he does these crazy things like his tea parties on highways, reads books on
Yeah.
rooftops, and I figured there's some crazy stuff he's probably done. And he went home and was like, "Good thing that wasn't that bad in the end." Like,
This question is for you.
thank you. I actually don't have any idea what the question is, but I'm working on it nonetheless.
Pontificate.
So you're asking about pranks, sort of, but also you're folding in a tea party. I did a tea party on a traffic island with some friends long ago, and then the police came. But the police, as far as I know, have not come too set to interrupt any of our pranking of each other. Although there was one night when Jared and I think, came perilously close to that. I parked my car intentionally very close to Jared's car so that he couldn't get into the driver's side door. And he thought that was not funny, so he took all of the air out of my tires. And then I called the towing company to have his car towed away. And as the tow truck was pulling up to his car, he came out and stopped the guy, and then got in his car and contemplated for a moment and thought, Misha's car's not that nice. I could afford to replace it. Maybe I'll just T-bone it right here in the parking lot. And then I came out of my trailer and stopped him, but it could have gotten to that point. So we've noticed, I think, over the years that there's a problem of escalation. And each of us has, I think, a real visceral desire to live. So we have tamped down the pranking of each other a little bit. And
I just, during that whole situation, you would just find me with a cup of coffee on the side going,
thank you, you guys.
good times. Hi.
Hi. So when the demon took over Jack's body, why was Dean able to work with him so easily, and why did it take Cass so much longer?
I think Cass still has feelings.
And Dean hasn't had feelings since season 3.
Take him to therapy!
I think Dean was willing to accept his, of course, help because of the situation that they were in. He was simply offering a means to help out. Dean didn't really see another way, so sure, let's try this out. If it doesn't work, we'll kill him. Cass, I think, was still struggling with the fact that it was Jack's body, and that this was, I think you said it was like an abomination or something to that degree. So I think that was the hang-up. Plus, that's just what the writers wrote.
I don't know why I have to use that answer more often. It's so good. Writers wrote it. I'm completely absolved of any guilt here.
There you go for that one.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Hi. We all know that because the show is on the CW network and not on, say, HBO or Stars or something like that, there's certain things you can't do. If Supernatural were on HBO or Stars or something like that, how do you think the show, especially your characters, would be different?
I think Cass would swear like a sailor. The shows would typically be somewhere in the range of 40 minutes to an hour, 20 minutes long. They would toggle. I think we would probably be on a different network.
That's what she's saying. Is it?
I'm grasping at straws, obviously. I'm trying not to say that our characters are having sex.
Hey, Misha, if the show were on a different network, how would it be different? Well, for one, it would be on a different network.
You can't argue with me, I am right. They would probably be able to afford qualified actors.
Well, we kind of have, there is a bit of a version of, I think, or at least a taste of what the show would look like if it were on another network or streaming site that didn't have the standards and practices that the networks do, and that's The Boys. Created by the same guy. And I watched that show and I'm like, oh yeah, this is all the things that he wanted to do with Supernatural but couldn't do because of standards and practices. And I think Dean probably has a lot in common with Carl Urban's character. And, I think you would probably just see much more grotesque killings and probably a lot. We always try to turn it up as loud as we can make it under the ceiling of what the networks put on us. And when you go over to those cable networks, then they kind of lift that ceiling. So you can see what, like, the outrageousness that Kripke's able to get away with on The Boys, and I think that he would love to have had that freedom on Supernatural. And like Misha said, I think the characters' language would be much more colorful. And I think the monsters would be much more gruesome, and I think the kills would be much more intense. But other than that, I think he would still be driving a car, and still be eating too much, and still making poor choices.
Just to follow up on that, Supernatural does toe the line, as Jensen was saying, with standards and practices. Like, it's always like, are they gonna let us show the head explode and the brains stick to the ceiling? And then it's like, I can't believe they let us do that. It's amazing. And you see the writers and the producers and the directors be like, yay, we got brains on the ceiling. That's a triumph. But there is a lot of...
You can call somebody a dick on the show, but you cannot call him a prick. Because Dick is just a name, like Richard. But a prick is a penis.
Couldn't you say just a little prick? Like that?
Like you're just a little prick.
No, you're here. Still mad at
Misha as a little prick. That's what we can't say.
How do you know that?
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Hi, question for
both. Over all the years, you've had some really interesting guest stars. It's like famous ones like Linda Blair, Dee Wallace, boys like Gary Cole.
Snooki.
Paris Hilton.
Right? Yeah. That's not anyway, it's not limited to just those people, just any interesting stories you had from working with them. You know, so I'm just going to leave it to you, because you guys are more than me and I, so go ahead.
We had Paris Hilton on the show one year, and I remember, this was kind of at the height of her social status back then, and she was kind of known as being this like blonde bimbo and carried on that way, and so I just assumed that that's who she was. And when she came on set, here walks in this super pro, knew all her lines, like had a completely different voice, had a different demeanor, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's playing a character. Like the Paris Hilton was a character. Like she's like dialed in real life, and that totally threw me for a loop. And I was like, wow, okay, maybe this was all like a social experiment for her. And then while we were shooting, we were doing this one thing. We were blocking out the scene, and our camera operator Brad, he says, "Hey Paris, if you could just do a banana into your mark," which, for those of you who are not actors, you probably figure that out. What he would mean if you could just banana in. Do you know? Yeah, you just, instead of doing a straight line, you would just do a little curve. Like a banana. And Paris looks at me, and he's like, yeah, if you could just banana in, and she just looks at me, she goes, what's a banana? And I'm like, there she is. She's in there. I don't know why that just came to mind. Can you?
Well, I was just thinking about one recurring phenomenon on the show with guest stars and co-stars occasionally on the show. Now that the show's been on for a long time, we occasionally get actors on the show who are serious fans of the show. And we had an actor toward the end of last season who was on the show who had done very well in the audition. And then when me and Jared came on set, she just lost her cool. She was like shaking and just like so excited, and it was such an amazing mashup of like actor, professional actor, and super fan on set. And she was like, oh my god. And Phil Segretia was directing, and he was like, hey guys, come here. So she was not nervous in the audition, and she is really nervous as soon as you guys walked on set, trying to be nice to her. And of course, we just made it worse. But yeah, that's been an interesting, occasionally, right? We occasionally see that when people come on and they're like, oh my god, I've been watching the show since I was, 10.
Or I was on the show when I was 10.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? We have a lot
and
of...
now I'm 24 years old, and it's like, what? Like the girl that played Dean's daughter in Slice Girls was the little girl in the Benders. And I remember she walks on, she's like a fully grown woman, and she's like, hi, I'm like, hey, how are you? She's like, it's good to see you again. I'm like, oh? She's like, yeah, I played Missy Bender. And I had to like look it up on my phone, and there she was, this little girl, grown up, and was back on the show again. She's probably been back on another time, and I'm just too many. But yeah, we get a lot of really, really talented people, and it's like Misha said, the show's been on so long that we get some interesting ones that either are fans or ones that are returned. That, you know, so I never say, hey, nice to meet you, because they've probably been on the show before. I just don't recognize them because they're, you know, 12 to 15 years ago.
And they probably don't recognize us.
They probably don't recognize us either.
We were young,
Right.
full of promise.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
We brought over your album, Jensen.
That's how I do the bad things about it.
We are proud of your album.
What?
Talk about your
Your
album.
album. We're proud of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. It's not
And you
happening.
made fun of her.
Listen, we share language. I'm not making fun of her. I understand what she said.
Please don't. Yeah, you can't
She's
yell
got,
like
you
that.
know, clown nose on.
Would have to.
She gets me.
Is it her? Can we get her attention? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Hi.
Ma'am, hi. You can't do that again or else I'm going to have to escort you out, okay? Thank you.
Woefully unprepared because I never thought I'd be picked. But let me ask you, I tend to look like Chandler Bing in all my photo ops. You know, when you get prepared. Like, oh, you've been a model, you've done all this acting, and every time I look at you, you're great. How do I get over
She's talking to
that?
me.
Misha, we had a thing with your acting, but we're good.
Remind me not to do these panels anymore.
So how do you prepare for these? I mean, you're doing everybody's cranking in, and I'm like Chandler banging it out. So how do I do better? Facial expression-wise?
Well, it's hard to know because we don't know. We don't know what facial expression you were doing in your photo op. I mean, do you have an image for us that we can look at to give you a critique?
Straight teeth and like.
Your mouth is open, you said?
My eyes are open.
Eyes are open. Great start. Great start. That's a traditional choice.
I get this weird kind
So
of.
let me just, is it like a,
Yeah. Just totally.
let's work on that. So we're going to start over here. What we're going to do is we're just going to open up the eyes a little bit more. So it's,
And you can't go too far.
we're going to close your mouth. We're going to close the mouth, so we're here. Okay, we're going to bring those cheeks back down. We're going to do this with the eyebrow. We're going to do this with the lip. Takes practice, but
If you spend a quick 6 months in the mirror practicing that day in and day out, it eventually becomes automatic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I
Hi there.
Hi, well, how are you guys before I ask?
What's that?
How are y'all doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great.
How are our voices went up?
Try not to diss myself. Other than that, I'm great. It's like every single day, people you get so many kind messages, whether it's told in person or online. So I want to say genuinely, how does that make you feel knowing that so many people are going out of their way just to want to tell you, hey, you're a good person, I'm glad you exist, and everything. It's basically, how does it feel to get so much love on a daily basis?
It's not bad. I have to say, without hyperbole, I think there are times when the constant outpouring of affection from the fans has been a source of consolation to me. Like, it's felt like, oh, maybe I'm not so terrible. And then there are times, you know, when you can see that onslaught of positivity and think, oh God, I don't deserve this. Why am I like, you know, and you can kind of, or at least I can kind of like cringe at it, but I think on balance, it feels nice. Like it feels very lucky to be the recipient of you know, kindness and affection from a group of, you know, relative strangers. And it also, I think it's true for all of us. It makes us feel like we see that and we feel like reciprocating. We feel like, oh, I love them. And, you know, when we reflect on the show drawing to its conclusion, I think there's a big part of all of us that feels like we have trepidation about losing that community and that, you know, that source of kindness and affection. And I think I, for one, am always going to love fans of the show, you guys, and you will forever have changed my life. And I'm very grateful that you all came into my life. Not you, but yeah.
Yeah, it is, to echo what Misha said, it's very nice. And it at least makes me feel as though that the love that I put out into the universe, this is how I kind of see it getting to come back to me. And I think that that's something that I've learned along the way, is that when you give love away, you open yourself up to receiving it as well. And so, we pour a lot of our hearts into what we do, day in and day out on the show and with the people that we work with. And so I guess it's confirmation that we're doing something right when we see the comments that we get to see from you guys, and when we get to meet you face to face and feel that energy. It boosts our confidence and reminds us that, hey, we're doing something good. So thank you for giving us that. Hey.
Very weird here. Okay. My question is, I am a new mom pending, little baby boy.
Congratulations.
And you two are amazing fathers.
And I'm sorry.
That's my question. What parenting advice would you give for a new mom?
Yeah, sleep now. Sleep as much as you can. Somebody told me this, and it just kind of resonated with me, that the days are going to be long. They're going to be really long, but the years are going to be short. So don't forget that when those days are long, to just be present and don't just think about, I can't wait to go to sleep tonight, and just muddle through the day, because the years are going to go by real fast.
That is, that's exactly the piece of advice I was going to give. No, I was thinking of, but it wasn't going to be articulate like that. I was thinking about how I think it was probably the first 2 years of being a parent, I was like, oh God, I'm so tired. And I don't want to be doing all this stuff. I don't want to be changing diapers. I don't want to be cleaning like old moldy food out of the car seat. I don't want to deal with like the tantrums and the food being thrown at me. And I don't want to deal with the nighttime routine for the first year of Mason's life, we fell into this routine where she had to be bounced to sleep. And so I was just like every night. And I came to the conclusion that if I counted to about 200, usually she would be asleep-ish, so that I could put her down. And so I would be, counting 1, 2, 3, 200, and then I'd try to put her down, and then she'd cry, and then I'd do it again. And I was literally like counting down the seconds to try to get through it so I could move on to something that I wanted to do. And at some point, I had this light go on in my head, And it was when I was putting the kids to sleep one night, and I realized they're not gonna be letting me put them to sleep soon. And if I am trying to rush through this experience, I'm going to end up looking back and realizing that I missed out on one of the most beautiful things in a human's life cycle. And that was, for me, it's been the most profound transition in being a parent, is doing exactly what you said, starting to be present with the process and not trying to resist it. Don't resist it. You can hate it, just don't resist it.
I had this, we were visiting my parents in Dallas, and we went to, took the family downtown. They have a really amazing aquarium there in downtown Dallas. And we were staying in a hotel that was maybe about 1.5 miles away. And we decided to walk because it was a beautiful day. And so we walked, and JJ was with me, and she was probably about 4 at the time. And she, about halfway through the aquarium, she started to get sleepy. She was like, "Dad, will you hold me?" So I was like, "Oh, sure." So she fell asleep on my shoulder, and we were gonna like walk back to the hotel, and I'm like, "Oh man, a little 1.5 miles of like my arm is already going numb, and we're not even out of the aquarium yet." So we get outside and we start walking, and I'm starting to feel it in my back. My arm's getting tired. My dad comes up, he's like, "You want me to take her for a while?" And I'm like, and I did. I wanted to take, I was like, "Yeah, I could use a break." And I was like, no. And I carried her the entire 1.5 miles back to the hotel. And I did that right after I read somewhere, some asshole who wrote this online and said, "One day you'll put your kids down and never pick them up again." So pick them up.
That's the one surefire way to get myself to cry, is thinking about all the lasts. Because there'll be so many of them in your children's upbringing, and they'll go by and you won't know that it was the last. And more likely than not, you won't even remember it. You're like, what was the last time? When was the last time that they, sipped out of a sippy cup? Or when was the last time they asked you to get them a glass of water because they couldn't reach the faucet? Or when was the last time they fell asleep on your shoulder? You're gonna have all of those lasts, and we're likely to miss a lot of them. So try to pay attention. This has been more depressing than I thought.
It's in line with the tone of this season. This might be the last time you and I are on stage together.
We can only hope.
It certainly will be once they get the comment box from these guys. Thank you, and we're sorry.
Hi, so this is a random question, but if you could get rid of any food from existence, which one would it be and why?
You could get rid of any food from existence?
Yeah.
Food?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, well, I can answer that. It's in my cookbook. It's breakfast pop.
Breakfast Pop-Tarts, so I was like, how dare you?
Orange juice, scrambled eggs, bacon, and toast in a blender, frozen. Yeah, I know. When Neil said she liked the cookbook, I was like, you haven't read it, have you? There's breakfast popsicles in there.
To be fair, that doesn't exist. Things in his house, that's not a problem. Society has gotten rid of them. He just refuses to accept it. Because breakfast popsicles aren't a thing, man.
True.
What is one food you would get rid of?
I really answered that question. We do unfortunately have those from time to time in my house. It's an abomination.
I got an idea. Stop making them.
Damn it, I wish I had thought of that.
What do I get rid of? I just don't see the need for sweetbreads.
Remember when we got
I remember. Misha and I went somewhere to eat, and he's like, "We'll have the least ordered thing on the menu." And just handed the guy the menu. He's like, "We'll take the least ordered thing on the menu. Bye." And went back to this conversation. I'm like, "What did we just order?" He's like, "Don't know." It's a mystery. And they're sweetbreads. And some of you may not know what sweetbreads are. They are glands. They're like cooked and are usually fried glands.
They taste a little glandy.
They're a little gland.
I did.
I remember eating them, and the juice squirted. And I did not know what was inside this, what looked like a chicken nugget.
Would that have been bile?
Sweetbreads. They can just take those right out. And I'd also like just to put in a request, could we just change the name of pho? I like pho.
Yeah.
I just hate saying I like pho. It's like you're about to say a good word, and then you come up short. Oh, pho. I'm glad I got that off my chest. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Megan. I obviously, like everyone here, really appreciate you guys taking your time out for these conventions and obviously the time away from your families. Sad that the show's ending, but what are the things that you're wanting to do, even if it's just like go to the mall with your kids or something like that after the show ends and you get a little bit more time?
What are we gonna do with our free time when we're done?
Well, you're just gonna keep doing what you're doing in your free time because you got so much of it.
I still don't like you.
I want to go camping.
We've been camping one time. What's that? I thought I was gonna be camping constantly with the kids. It feels like
No go?
No, I want to go.
Oh, you want to go? I was like, you went one time and it was horrible.
No, it's
You're like,
great.
we're never doing this again.
It's great.
Yeah, we'll go camping. And, you know, I want to, I shouldn't be there more. You know, JJ was starting to play the piano a little bit, so I wanted to help her with that. Zeppelin's always interested. He's got a ukulele, he's always picking it up. I need to just spend time with him and show him a couple of chords because he's like interested. So, yeah, I'm just gonna do more of that when I get the time.
Hi, I had a combined question for the two of you. I wanted to ask Misha because I'm the scapegoat of my group of friends, and I wanted to ask you, how do you... Please, I'm in the same situation as you. I'm being, how do you feel about it? How do you react to it as opposed to how you feel? And as a persecutors, Jensen.
I don't want to know how you feel, I want to know how you react. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, how do you feel about it? And how do you react to it as opposed to how you feel about it?
Okay.
And Jensen, as a persecutors, How, where do you draw the line? Like, where do you stop?
Sky's the limit.
Wait, so you call me a scapegoat?
I am too.
Do you know what scapegoat means?
Well, my first language is French, and French we say bouc émissaire. So,
What does that mean?
Bouc émissaire is like you're the victim. You're always the victim of your friend.
So in English, scapegoat is he did it, and so you blame. I get blamed for a lot of things, and that is also true. I'm not just a victim. I am also a scapegoat. Remember, I'm not just the president. I'm also a client. It feels, I would say it feels sometimes bad to be the victim. I think that it was pretty challenging for the first several years that I was on the show when we were shooting scenes and Jared and Jensen would, I guess the technical acting term is torture me. And my reaction typically is to laugh. And then at a certain point, I get frustrated and I'll throw a paper airplane into the floor. And for those of you who don't know, there was one day on set when Jared and Jensen were torturing me just endlessly. They would torture me so much that we were shooting on location and people drove from the office, the production office, over to set just to watch me be tortured. Like a bullfight or something. People wanted to see the bull get killed. I was the bull in that scenario. And they just wanted to see the blood. And they came down and Jared and Jensen were harassing me. And I was laughing, but I was starting to get like, God, guys, this is really going on too much. And my reaction wasn't great, I'll admit it. First thing I did is I said, well, if they told me that this would happen in drama school, and Jared and Jensen immediately popped in front of the camera while I was rolling and said, "I went to drama school." And that made it on the gag reel. And then when it was my coverage, Jared threw a paper airplane and it just came sort of barreling across the room right at eye level and hit me in the head. And so when it was Jared's coverage, I took a paper airplane and it was defective. This is also captured on camera, and it just went. So anyway, my reaction historically has not always been what I would hope it would be, although I do have fantasies of it playing out in a different way. Like, for example, it's really unbelievably frustrating. We'll be shooting a scene, and Jared has long legs and good, flexible hips, so we'll be shooting a scene, and Jared will just lift his leg up, and
no arches on.
And then his foot will be right here in my crotch, and he'll just be gently moving it around. I can't help but laugh. I can't help but laugh. It's just that's how I respond. Jensen, as you know, Jensen likes to watch. And so, Jared's turn for his coverage, and I'll go in for revenge, and I'll be like, I'll get my foot up in there and move it around, and Jared is just stone-faced, and then I'm just a creepy guy with his foot. So, when Alex came during the show, and you guys started to shift your attention toward making his life hell, that was a great relief for me. But I knew I had been through that radar. I knew what the experience was like to be tortured on set. And so when Alex came on and they were doing the same stuff to me, to him that they had done to me, I immediately joined in. Because it was such a relief to be able to be the hazer instead of the hazy. I thought I would be better as a person than I turned out to be. But I learned it from you.
So the moral of the story is find someone else and take your aggression out on them.
Unfortunately, I never had Alex to save my ass. So, I can hope for a better answer. Thank you so much.
You will find your Alex.
Or you'll find a foot in your crotch.
Hi guys, like everyone else in this room, I absolutely adore you. My question is, what's your advice to the young men watching and being influenced by your characters on the show?
So the term influence. Are great role models in a lot of respects because they have a lot of grit and a lot of determination, and they can muscle through a lot of things that are really challenging. They're not great at talking about their feelings, I've noticed.
So?
They're well cast. No, you're very sensitive. But I think that Cass also offers a good counterpoint because Cass, I think, is like he's the more sensitive of the group. He's also very socially awkward though, so don't be like Cass in social situations, I would say. That's the advice I have. How about you?
Yeah, find yourself an old muscle car, use it to your best advantage. I don't think I've met one person who has seen the show who was like, I love this show. Like the guys and the demons, the monsters and the angels and stuff. The car though. Everybody loves the car.
When Castiel lost his wings and he needed to get transportation as well, the first script that Cass had a car in came out, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Cass is also going to get a really cool car.
The Pimpmobile?
Pimpmobile.
Does that one still have the hydraulics?
Yeah, well, it does, yeah. That car, they rented it for the first episode from a guy. You seen him on set?
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, I guess this is working. Cass is gonna have the Pimpmobile for the next episode as well. And Jared and I were in the car, and there are all these little switches with hydraulics because the car actually does that, like it bounces up and down. And so Jared was like,
that's spot on. You've been working on your Jared.
And it was jumping up and down, and I could see, like, off at the horizon, the owner of the car who was there on set, came running, like, in slow motion. And by the time he got to us, the entire suspension system was destroyed. The production had to pay, like, the car itself, I think, was worth about $1,200, but they had to pay about $20,000 to repair the hydraulics on the car. So they could have bought a lot of those Pimpmobiles over the run of the show, but instead, this one guy is just retired off of owning that car. Yeah.
yeah, we'll work on that. Hi, what's your name?
Mel.
I'm Mel. All right. Looks like you got some friends in the audience. How you feel right now? Just take it in. What do you have to say? No, just talk about your life. You guys are horrible. Thank you. Yeah, see, you're the new Alex right now. All right, Mel, what's your question?
Okay, so it's about the last episode. So do you think that the fight that happened between Dean and Cass was necessary to further the storyline? She needs Cass as a friend and as a family member since, they've been friends since forever. And it's kind of sad that they separated. That's all I get.
I have no idea what she's saying. You want to know if we patch things up, right?
And more specifically, why is Dean being such a prick?
A dick. Not a prick. I will say that there is an answer to your question in the show. It will be at episode 9, which we just finished. Let's just say that Dean has a moment by himself where he prays to Cass.
Reverse spoiler alert.
And it's a bit of a confession on why he feels the way he feels and why he's treating Cass the way he treated him. So, there you go. Okay.